Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Motivation in the Moment. I am DB Parker, and I have something that I want to say. I absolutely love and adore my wife. That's it. What's wrong with that? So, unfortunately, we live in a society where that's a problem to say, it seems like, for a lot of reasons. It seems like that's an issue. And I am not talking about the whole topic of LGBT or anything like that. I'm not going down that route. But what I am saying specifically, as a man, to say that he loves his wife, it seems like there's something that people are embarrassed about. And quite frankly, that should never be the case. I mean, after all, that is pretty much how most of us got here in the first place. Now, what I'll say is that, again, I like to relate to myself. Personally, I know a lot of individuals, men in particular, that if they heard me make that statement, they would say, "Oh, come on, hell, what you gotta say all that for? Why are you talking about that?" I don't really see what the issue with that is. And on the other end of that argument, a lot of women, if they heard a man make that statement, they melt. So the confusion to me is, why is it that men, I guess we can say black men, but men in general, seem to struggle with things that women do like, but we want the women in the first place? It's a bit of a conundrum. I'm not really sure. But I can say this, okay? Most people like some level of reassurance, okay? Especially in a friendship, in a relationship. It is nice to be reassured of things. It is nice to have affirmation, which is one of the love languages, I believe. So for many women, just simply telling them that you love them is a good thing for them. They don't necessarily have to hear it all the time, but when they do hear it in the right circumstance, it makes them feel appreciated. And I do know also from experience, even more so, they seem to appreciate it more when their man says that they love them, but to someone else. So they're not saying it necessarily to the woman or to the wife, the girlfriend, the fiance, whatever it is. They're saying it about the wife, the fiance, the girlfriend, to someone else. In that situation, it makes them feel a little more appreciated. Now, I know that saying this, there's still many men who feel like, "Oh man, what's the big deal? I don't need to say that. It does nothing for me." Well, it's not about what it does for you. It's about what it does for her. And if you think about the fact that many men seem to complain about women, and one of the things about women that we complain about is the fact that they're so emotional. Well, that's a woman. Women are emotional. They are more emotional than men. So that particular argument is not really something that should be picked on too much. I mean, of course, some stuff's going to annoy us. Like I'm not going to sit here and act like what women can do at times doesn't annoy a man. But be careful about the attributes that you seem to pick about in the opposite sex, because those attributes in particular are some of the ones that actually make them who they are as the opposite sex. If you want someone who's not emotional, there's a man that you go for. If a man dates a woman who's not emotional, then they'll end up complaining about how she's not emotional. So it's just something that you have to be careful about. Now, going back to the statement of saying I love my wife. No wife, fiance, or girlfriend should ever have to make the complaint that she is not hearing the fact that she's loved. If you think about how simple it is It's simply just opening your mouth and saying, I love her. If she's not asking you for anything else beyond that, which of course she probably should be, and she would likely be with, rightfully so, to do so, to ask for more. But if it's something that simple as just simply saying and acknowledging the fact that you love her and she doesn't get it, you know, that might be an issue on the part of the man. Now, I'm not just going to beat up on men here, so please don't get that twisted. Now let's go on the other side. Women. No man, no husband, no fiance, no serious boyfriend should ever have to worry about feeling like he's not appreciated. As men, it is in our nature to be providers. Now, of course, we know that that's not necessarily the case with everybody. Everybody doesn't necessarily take on that role. But if you look at males in nature, not just humans, but lions and whatever the case might be, cattle, whatever, okay? It is in our nature as males to provide and protect. Now, on the human side, we like to communicate differently. We have emotions that need to be satisfied. And while we know that this role of providing and protecting is our responsibility, it is still something that we would like to have acknowledgement for. And ladies, I will say, if you haven't been told before, as a man, just simply hearing the words, I appreciate you, I see what you do, I thank you, those can boost a man's morale beyond the clouds. Okay, when you may have a man who is already working as hard as he can, he knows that he's doing what he has to do, you don't know what's going through that man's mind. We are emotional as well, but of course our emotions are typically displayed differently. And a lot of times our emotions are internally displayed, which is not necessarily the healthiest thing. I mean, I'll admit that. But unfortunately, that's what we tend to do, and we do need to get away from it. However, dealing with what we have, we tend to display our emotions internally. And a lot of times, men deal with insecurities, okay, as we all do. But sometimes our insecurities come from our roles, our positions, and our responsibilities. And if you have a man who is a provider, who is a protector, and when things aren't quite going the way that they should go, or according to the plan of the way they were going to go, you don't know what kind of guilt he bears, okay? And you don't know how much he beats up on himself. Unfortunately, a lot of men do end up getting depressed behind things like that. And sometimes we don't know why. Well, there's one reason there. So simply acknowledging the fact that you are aware of his efforts and you actually do care and appreciate his efforts, that goes a long way in making a man feel satisfied and appreciated. So, in conclusion of this particular topic, what exactly do you bring together from it, right? And what I would essentially say, what my aim is to present in this particular message, is to communicate through affirmation and acknowledgement, okay? On both sides, men and women, a lot of arguments seem to stem from the fact that one or the other does not feel acknowledged for their role, for their responsibilities, and for the actions that they take within their relationship or within their marriage. Now, this is certainly not to say that this is the only issue within a marriage or relationship, because we all know that that's not the case. However, many arguments, many confrontations, much tension between couples seems to stem from the fact that one person or the other does not feel acknowledged or does not feel appreciated for what they do. So now that we've identified a potential conflict, or we've identified a problem and we realize that it can produce a conflict, now it's time to piece together conflict resolution in that. The simple method of resolving this particular conflict is to consciously make sure that you make an effort to acknowledge your spouse, your girlfriend, wife, whoever it is, significant other. Make sure you acknowledge them for what they do and who they are, and for the things that you actually like and appreciate and enjoy about them. Now, of course, this is easier said than done, especially if you're not the type of person who does this in the first place, especially if you feel like it doesn't necessarily matter to you, so therefore you don't think to do it. Now you do have to go out of your way to make this effort. You have to go out of your way to make sure that, men, you tell your woman that you love her, or that women, you tell your man that you appreciate him. Okay, so you'll do it on purpose. But once you do it and once you try it, pay attention to the reaction that you get. And please make sure that the effort that you give is a genuine effort. Don't do it because you feel like it's a chore. If you give it a non-genuine approach, then you won't get a genuine reaction out of it. So please make sure that you are actually trying to show this appreciation to your significant other. Once you do, and you see the result that it produces, because it will most likely produce some sort of result, especially if you don't typically do it. The result that it typically produces immediately is shock, okay? Surprise. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I can tell you, as a man, the very first time you hear your woman say, "I appreciate you," especially if, one, you complain about the fact that she doesn't say it, or you've told her that she doesn't say it, or you just notice it in your mind that she never says it. When you hear it for the first time, your reaction is,
what?
So, women, think about it on the other side. If you have never heard your man say that he loves you, which should never be a problem, but some people, that's a problem. If you've never heard that and you did hear it, you know what you might be thinking about after that. So I'm just saying this to say, give it a shot. See what it does for you. And if it doesn't work, so be it. There's another method that you can try. But this is just one single thing that can be applied to attempt to resolve the communication issue of not feeling appreciated. Now, I'm very, very curious as to what the audience thinks, what viewers think, what subscribers and Instagram followers, what you all think. So if you are interested in sharing your perspective, please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. Definitely send a DM on Instagram, and I would love to get some feedback, and perhaps we can have a conversation about it. All right, everybody. Other than that, this is Motivation in the Moment. DB Parker speaking to you. Hope y'all have a good one.